Chapter 11 Killing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing the 300-year-old black water turtle, Dai Yao relaxed. As long as the two of them fight, I can take advantage of the chaos and escape. Dai Yao's figure flew past Xian Shui turtle, however, something unexpected happened to him. After the 300-year-old Xian Shui turtle met the 700-year-old Xian Shui turtle, he also smelled the smell of animal heart powder and went crazy. The two black water turtles frantically chased Dai Yao. Holy crap! Am I just trapped in a cocoon? His heart suddenly sank. One black water turtle already made him run for his life in embarrassment, and with the addition of another one, his chances of escaping were already slim. Now I can only give it a try and try my best to kill it. The black water turtle is huge and has an advantage in close combat. Once it falls into the quagmire of close combat, I will never have a chance to escape. In other words, I only have one chance to strike. Dai Yao took a deep breath and tried his best to calm down his heart. In a crisis, only a calm mind can allow you to view the problem comprehensively and discover opportunities for a comeback. The problem now is that the Xian Shui turtle's weak point is in the center of its plastron. How to turn the Xian Shui turtle over is a problem. I can't be a sliding shovel. A sliding shovel is used to deliver breakfast to the tiger, but the chassis of the black water turtle is too low to allow it to slide and shovel. As the chase became longer and longer, more and more qi in Dai Yao's body was consumed, and now 40% of it had been consumed. Oops, I still have 60% of my energy in my body. The most powerful bajabang my body can withstand requires 40% of my energy. The longer the time goes by, the slimmer the chance of survival becomes. He turned around and found that the distance between the 700-year-old black water turtle and him had not changed, while the 300-year-old turtle was getting further and further away. A plan began to form in his mind. He began to adjust his direction. From the sky, his escape trajectory was exactly a circle. In the end, the two soul beasts were on the same straight line, and he successfully ran to the middle of the two soul beasts. In front of him was the 300-year-old Xian Shui turtle, and behind him was the 700-year-old Xian Shui turtle. But the price is that the original distance of more than 10 meters is shortened to a few meters. He could already feel the hot breath exhaled by the mysterious water turtle behind him. Death or life, let's fight here. Dai Yao mobilized the energy in his dantian, faced the 300-year-old mysterious water turtle that was flying in front of him, stepped hard, and leaped into the air. The height of his leap was higher than ever before. When it landed on the back of Xian Shui turtle, he stepped out again. The Xian Shui turtle's body sank, like a balloon in the water. It was pushed hard by someone. After sinking in the water, it was pushed up again under the action of buoyancy. You must know that both Dai Yao and Xian Shui turtle are moving at high speed. Being able to land on Xian Shui turtle requires precise calculation. A single mistake may lead to failure. Although this move was somewhat dangerous, under the crisis situation, it was Dai Yao's helpless choice. At the same time, he also considered the failure situation. When he leaped, he used a little more force. Even if he did not land on the back armor, he could still fly over the black water turtle, so that the two black water turtles could collide. Once the two start fighting, he can escape. The 700-year-old black water turtle saw the prey in front of it leap forward, and it kicked hard without thinking. After the 300-year-old black water turtle was stepped on by Dai Yao, his eyes that were so frightened and crazy became much clearer when he saw the huge thing flying in front of him. The limbs immediately shrank into the turtle shell. With a bang, a huge black water turtle jumped up from another black water turtle, leaving 4 deep hoof prints on the carapace of the black water turtle under his feet. Now! In the flash of lightning, Dai Yao seized the opportunity. He landed on one foot, used the momentum to turn around, and drew an arc on the ground with the other foot. Using both feet at the same time, he rushed straight towards the black water turtle above his head. Seeing Dai Yao's actions, Xian Shui turtle suddenly became more awake. It knew that once its weak point was hit, it would definitely die. It hurriedly circulated the power within its body, and a green circular barrier appeared. Baji, collapse. 40% of the dantian energy was poured into his right hand. When his right paw touched the green barrier, a huge sound was deafening. The powerful sound waves spread in all directions, causing the trees to sway and the snow to fall off. With Dai Yao as the center, a huge circular area without snow appeared. The barrier was penetrated by one blow, and Dai Yao's body was at the end of its strength. However, he could not relax yet. He waved his uninjured left paw and poured the last 20% of his energy into it. It's over. Dai Yao seemed to be unable to feel the pain in his body as he swung the final blow towards the center of the Xian Shui turtle's plastron. Another shattering sound came, and the small fist penetrated the Xian Shui turtle's belly armor, and the whole person was trapped in Xian Shui turtle's body. It hit the ground hard, and the Xian Shui turtle twitched a few times, and finally stopped moving. As soon as the 300-year-old black water turtle poked its head out of its shell, it saw the miserable state of the other turtle. He immediately ran away quickly. That speed was much faster than when he was chasing Dai Yao. Dai Yao crawled out of Xian Shui turtle's body, and the state of possession by Wu Huan was also lifted. He lay on the ground exhausted, breathing the air greedily. After a long time, he thought, what a life after the disaster. Ah! A yellow soul ring appeared on the body of Xian Shui turtle, and there was a little purple in the yellow. 700 years of soul rings, it's a pity that I can't absorb them. But now he was still in the dangerous soul beast forest, so he immediately sat down cross-legged, visualized the green lotus in the spiritual world, and started practicing. Behind a bare tree, the guard was watching this scene in shock. What kind of monster is this? Although he is not a soul master, he clearly knows what it means for a 6-year-old child to kill a 700-year-old mysterious water turtle. Especially the techniques Dai Yao used when escaping and during his final counterattack should be the legendary self-created soul skills. A genius. If he continues to live, sooner or later he will discover something strange about today's Xian Shui turtle. Once traced, the wealth and life of my entire family will be at stake. He thought with fear, looking at Dai Yao who was exhausted. A terrible thought came to his mind. For now, I have no choice but to kill him. Hearing the movement around him, Dai Yao also opened his eyes. In just a short while, he had recovered half of his energy. The effect of Qinglian is so abnormal. The moment he saw the guard, he understood that the furious Xian Shui turtle must have been his move. He has no grudges against this person. The only one who has any grudge against him is the queen. This person should be the queen's person. He didn't feel the presence of soul power in the guard, he was just an ordinary person. Half anger is enough to kill him, he thought. Dai Yao looked at the person coming over blankly and asked, why are you, a guard, here? Before the guard could reply, he looked behind him and said in surprise, Captain of the Guard. Thanks to 2 readers for their suggestions. There were indeed logical problems in the plot updated yesterday, which have now been corrected. Thank you very much to all the friends who voted. I would like to express my gratitude here. Chapter 12 The First Soul Ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dai Yao did not shout the words Chief Guard randomly. It is impossible for the captain not to know that this guard appeared here. He said this just to test. If the captain of the guard really appeared, it means that the captain of the guard is also a member of the queen. It will be dangerous to hunt soul beasts here in the future. Unexpectedly, the guard actually looked back in panic. Good chance. Dai Yao caught the moment when the guard turned back and transported the half-complete qi he had just recovered to his feet. Hearing a bang, the frozen soil under Dai Yao's feet shattered into the shape of a spider web, and his body flew towards the guard like a cannonball. Before the guard could turn around, he felt a chill pass through his neck, and then the world in his field of vision began to rotate, and finally his head fell to the ground. A few drops of blood slowly dripped down the blade. Dai Yao was breathing heavily, holding the blade in his less injured left hand. His body was already exhausted, especially his right hand. After infusing 40% of his energy to use Bajibang, his entire right arm lost consciousness. Fortunately, the Bajibang was used while possessed by a martial spirit, otherwise the entire right hand would have been disabled. This time, he really didn't have any strength at all. The blow just now didn't even have the strength to possess the martial spirit. He didn't think about the competition for the throne, the engagement, or the duel. He just wanted to simply rest for a while. After an hour, Dai Yao's condition also recovered a little, and he was once again glad that he was still alive, and his hatred for the queen deepened in his heart. Damn queen, not only did she not send me a soul master to hunt the soul beast, but she also kept her in the beast garden. If you send someone to plot against me, just wait, and I will repay you twice as much as you will for today. Thinking of the technique of pouring qi into the feet and then bursting out at extremely fast speeds, I came up with the idea of naming it. Since there is Bajibang, let's call this technique Bakubu. Bajibang is a fighting skill that Xiao Yan has honed over time. In addition to Bajibang, Yao Lao also trained Xiao Yan in explosive steps, palm sucking and other fighting skills. Dai Yao looked at the corpse of Xian Shui turtle. The yellow and purple soul ring began to shine, looming in the void. If it was not absorbed, it would disappear. It's a pity that the 700-year-old soul ring exceeds the limit of the first soul ring by too much and cannot be absorbed at all. It can only be let go to waste. However, just when Dai Yao was about to pack up his things and leave, the green lotus in his spiritual world began to emit light, and the yellow soul ring gradually flew to Dai Yao under the pull of this light. What the hell? Is this soul ring so close to me? Dai Yao was still surprised when the soul ring entered his body directly. I shouldn't be absorbing this soul ring. Feeling a sharp pain, he quickly sat down cross-legged and began to absorb the soul ring. The absorption of the soul ring cannot be stopped. Either the absorption is successful, or it is exploded by the powerful energy of the soul ring. Damn, what on earth is this Qinglian, and how did it absorb this soul ring? Even if you absorb the limit soul ring, you will almost die, let alone exceed the limit for more than 300 years. Besides, my body is in a weak state now. Absorbing this soul ring will lead to death and no life. But the matter had come to this, and he had no choice. Regulate your breath and calm your turbulent heart. In the face of danger, only by staying calm can we solve the problem. A blazing energy rushed around in the body. In an instant, the 5 internal organs seemed to be on fire, and the whole body seemed to be soaked in magma. This hot breath enters the dantian, and as the dantian rotates, the originally empty dantian becomes filled again. Under the influence of the phantom of the green lotus in the dantian, these qi gradually turned into water. Immediately afterwards, the fiery breath rushed into his head and turned into a fiery ring of fire in the spiritual world. The ring of fire first made a circle in the spiritual world. After seeing Qinglian, it seemed to have seen some terrifying existence and fled quickly. It found the sacred white tiger not far away, and the ring of fire immediately enveloped the sacred white tiger, turning into a sea of fire around the white tiger. The white tiger was burned by the flames and roared in pain. Dai Yao in reality also cried out in pain. His bones were broken and his flesh and blood were burning. Dai Yao's face turned red, and then his whole body turned red. His body temperature rose sharply, and the water vapor evaporated from his body. His whole body was covered in mist of water vapor, as if he was in a steamer. He is about to be exploded by the powerful energy. At this critical moment, the green lotus in the spiritual world shed a green light, and the body's explosion was immediately stopped. The meridians in his body were exploded by the powerful energy, but as the blue light fell, the damaged meridians began to recover at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, before he recovered, he was burst by energy again. The meridians throughout his body were switching back and forth between damaged and restored states, and the energy was gradually absorbed by the body during this cycle. Waves of pain like cutting flesh came one after another, but the green light kept him awake and unable to pass out. Later, he became somewhat numb to the pain. After an unknown amount of time, the restored meridians were no longer damaged, and the energy that originally surged through the body disappeared without a trace. The sacred white tiger in the spiritual world seemed to be reborn from the ashes, with a pair of bright copper bell-sized eyes and white hair that became darker and darker. The flame became smaller and smaller, and finally turned into a yellow soul ring, surrounding the sacred white tiger. When the yellow soul ring shone, a white barrier appeared around the white tiger, the first soul skill, white tiger protective barrier. Dai Yao tried his best to open his eyes. He found that he had lost weight again. He smiled bitterly and said, "This time, I'm really skin and bones." However, the end result is stunning. His first soul ring reached 700 years. This is unprecedented in the history of Douluo Continent. Of course there were others, and there were many who were even more outrageous than him. Moreover, his physical strength has also increased significantly, several times that of before. On the one hand, the soul ring gave a great bonus. On the other hand, under the influence of Qinglian, the body that was constantly torn and restored became more solid. Originally, he could withstand up to 20% of the energy without being injured, but now he can withstand 40% of the energy without being injured. If you are injured to a certain extent, it is no problem to withstand 60% of the energy. When he looked inside his dantian, he discovered a strange sight. After absorbing the energy of the soul ring, the filled dantian's energy, no, it should be said to be filled with gaseous soul power, began to slowly transform around Qinglian. For liquid state, he could feel that the energy contained in this liquid soul power was several times that of the gaseous soul power, but for people without Qinglian, their soul power is still in the gaseous state. In other words, Dai Yao's soul power is several times that of an ordinary soul master at the same level. However, Dai Yao suddenly realized, then my cultivation time is several times longer than others, that the advantages of liquid soul power are foreseeable, but it slows down Dai Yao's cultivation speed and greatly delays the time to obtain the soul ring. As a prince, the most important thing for him is the speed of his cultivation. If his cultivation speed is not fast, he will be even more disadvantaged in the competition for the throne. However, Qinglian can speed up his cultivation, so as long as it can offset the side effects of liquid soul power, it won't have much impact on him. Chapter 13 Preparation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom, there was a loud bang. Dai Yao collided with a mysterious water turtle that was more than 700 years old. In front of him, a white barrier blocked the rushing Xian Shui turtle, but it only stood still for a few seconds before the white barrier was broken through by the Xian Shui turtle. Just as the Xian Shui turtle continued to hit Dai Yao, Dai Yao was out of the Xian Shui turtle's attack range with a single explosive step. The black water turtle roared angrily, because in the past 2 days, the little bug in front of him had entered its territory again and again, constantly irritating it. And every time after he broke through the barrier, the speed of the little bug suddenly accelerated, not only avoiding its attack route, but also leaving its territory. After being teased several times, it didn't chase Dai Yao this time. Anyway, it couldn't catch Dai Yao every time. It could only spit out white gas from its nostrils in anger. Thank you very much, big turtle. Dai Yao laughed heartily. This white tiger protective barrier still can't resist the collision of the black water turtle. Fortunately, when I obtained the soul ring, I didn't have a head-on confrontation with the black water turtle. Otherwise, one collision could have broken my bones. After obtaining the first soul ring, he will prepare for the duel with Dai Mubai. Therefore, he stayed in the royal beast garden and found a 700-year-old black water turtle as a sparring partner. His soul power reached level 11. Part of the powerful energy of the soul ring was absorbed by his body, and part of it was liquefied, causing his level to be low. He currently has 3 skills: the defensive white tiger body barrier, the offensive bajibang, and the movement-based explosive step. Compared with boring training, actual combat can improve oneself better. During the battle with Xian Shui turtle, he became increasingly familiar with these 3 skills. At first, after the white tiger's protective barrier was broken, he had no time to use explosive steps to escape, and his bones were broken by the black water turtle. After one night, under the influence of Qinglian's powerful self-healing ability, he recovered. After one night, the next day, he stood in front of the Xian Shui turtle intact. Xian Shui turtle, who used to be furious when seeing him, no longer attacks him, but only finds him annoying. After a few days of actual combat, I have gained a certain level of proficiency in the 3 skills. It's time to go back. He packed his luggage and returned along the original route. On the way back, he saw the captain of the guard. Thinking of the guard who wanted to murder him, he looked at the captain with a half-smile. The captain of the guard also had something on his mind. Being stared at by Dai Yao made his scalp numb and cold sweat slid down his face. Prepare the carriage and go back to the palace. However, Dai Yao did not embarrass him. The most important thing for him now was the duel, and he did not want to cause trouble. After 1 day and 1 night, Dai Yao returned to Ling Palace. In front of the Ling Palace gate, his third uncle was already waiting for him. Third uncle. Yes, I have grown a lot since I got the soul ring, but I am too thin. Now I need to eat more. Dai Hengyu had been waiting in the cold palace for a long time after receiving the news of Dai Yao's return. By the way, how old is your first soul ring? Nearly 400 years. Dai Yao paused and said, it's not that he doesn't want to tell the real age, but the first spirit ring of 700 years is too shocking. Since ancient times, no one's first soul ring has been able to absorb such a long life. He also couldn't explain why he could absorb a soul ring with such a high age. If he really wanted to get to the bottom of it, Qinglian's secret would definitely be exposed. So, he told a white lie. Yes, 400 years. Dai Hengyu patted Dai Yao's shoulder heavily and said in surprise. In his speculation, Dai Yao could obtain a soul ring worth 200 to 300 years at most. Don't be proud. The three princes all have their first soul rings 400 years old. Your obtaining the first soul ring only proves that you are qualified to compete with them. Dai Hengyu warned. He looked at Dai Yao and sighed. The queen knew the news that you obtained the soul ring yesterday evening. Early this morning, with her prompting, she decided to start the duel tomorrow. You don't leave any buffer for me. You want to kill me so much. Dai Yao sneered. According to the queen's knowledge, he had only obtained his first soul ring yesterday, and he might not even be able to perform soul skills skillfully. Therefore, the duel is scheduled for tomorrow, so that he will definitely lose, but what they don't know is that he has obtained the first soul ring for several days, and has become completely proficient in the first soul skill through actual combat in the royal beast garden. What they did is indeed ugly, but no matter where it is, how can there be absolute fairness? Dai Hengyu's tone was bitter, and the fists in his sleeves were clenched tightly. He is also a member of the White Tiger family, and he is very familiar with this in the family's repressive atmosphere. I will definitely do it, third uncle. Dai Yao smiled slightly, hiding the bitterness in his heart. The gap in soul power, which is close to level 7, is really a chasm that is difficult to cross. There will be many distinguished guests in tomorrow's duel, and the Bishop of Wuhuan Palace from the imperial capital will also come. Have a good rest tonight and show your best strength tomorrow. Although you have little hope of winning tomorrow, I must fight you with style. Dai Hengyu gave final instructions. In his mind, there was no suspense about the outcome of this duel. It was really hard to calm down while practicing. Dai Yao came to the courtyard and it was snowing in the sky. Tomorrow's duel made him a little uneasy. Dai Mubai was 3 years older than him, already had 17th level soul power, and had already made a name for himself in the Star Luo Royal Academy. In the Star Luo Royal Academy, no one at the same level as him was his opponent, White Tiger Martial Spirit, a 17th level attack-type battle spirit master. During the 3 years at the Royal Academy, he never slacked off. In the original work, he fled the Tiando Empire after completely despairing of the competition for the throne. What's more, when he finally became a god, his title was the God of War. A second-level god can compete with a first-level god. His fighting talent is definitely not low. Dai Yao is a twin martial soul, and there is a mysterious Qinglian in the spiritual world. He is extremely talented. But these are always just potentials, not strengths. He needs a certain amount of time to transform his potential into strengths, so that he can have the capital to compete with the queen. Just give me more time. Dai Yao thought helplessly. He couldn't help but think of that night 6 years ago, the day he was born. Through a squeeze, he came into the world. Unlike other children, he was born with his eyes open. He still remembered the woman saying gently, "Look, this child's eyes are so bright. Let's call him Yao from now on." After saying that, the woman picked up Dai Yao and teased him affectionately. However, at this moment, several women suddenly rushed in and screamed in the delivery room. Dai Yao watched his mother being choked by those women, and the sound of the woman's struggle resounded throughout the cold palace. As the struggle weakened, the woman's arms slowly dropped. This scene is unforgettable in Dai Yao's heart. Mother, don't worry. Sooner or later, I will ask the queen to see you under Jiuquan. Tomorrow, let's pay some price first. Dai Yao made up his mind. In addition to exposing his twin martial souls, no matter what price he pays tomorrow, everyone must win this victory. Chapter 14 The Tip of the Needle versus the Awn of Wheat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The second day, Royal Martial Arts Arena. In the center of the Royal Martial Arts Arena is a circular competition platform with a diameter of nearly 100 meters, surrounded by stands for tourists to watch. Today is destined to be the most lively day in Xingluo royal family in recent years. The Star Luo Empire has been adopting a policy of recuperation since its ally, the Haotian sect, retreated from the world. Today, 2 Xingluo princes will duel for a marriage contract. This news instantly makes the Dai family and the Zhu family excited. The White Tiger family respects the White Tiger martial spirit. The 2 princes represent the peak strength of their family's martial spirits. In this duel, they can see the power of the top beast martial spirits. I don't know how many descendants of the Dai family and Zhu family gathered here. On the high platform, represented the 5 elders of the Presbyterian Church and the current queen of the Zhu family, but the huge seat in the center was empty. Emperor Xingluo, he didn't come. After all, this is just a duel between the 3rd prince and the 4th prince, not the final game that really determines the succession of the throne, so there is no way to alarm him. In addition to the 2 children, there are many other big forces outside the royal family. For example, Bishop Ferdinand of the Wuhuan Palace, who was never absent from the royal family's excitement. In the martial arts arena, a golden figure stood proudly. He was dressed gorgeously, with a golden shawl and long hair flying, and pride in his evil eyes. He stood on the stage like a javelin, and his whole body was filled with confidence. His handsome face touches the hearts of many girls. Is this the 3rd Prince Dai Mubai? The bloodline of your White Tiger family is really good, and they look good. Bishop Ferdinand has a plump figure and a wealthy look on his face. With his eyes half open and half closed, and yawning from time to time, he sat on the chair and joked lazily. Hearing the bishop praising her 2nd son, the queen just chuckled and didn't say much, seemingly indifferent. The 5th elder snorted coldly, looking bored. Whenever something happened in the royal family, Bishop Ferdinand was like a dogskin plaster, coming right after the smell and unable to drive him away. The White Tiger family was extremely annoyed, but after all, he represented the Wuhuan Palace and it was hard to keep the bishop out. As an audience, the bishop only watched and did not express any opinions. So the family has nothing to be wary of him. Every time he saw him, he was always smiling. The 5th elder always felt that there was a secret hidden in his smile, which was annoying. Bishop Ferdinand said with a smile, the other party in the duel is the 4th prince, but why haven't I heard that there is a 4th prince in the empire? The 4th prince has only recently awakened. The 5th elder replied. Oh. He just awakened recently, and now he has obtained the 1st soul ring. Doesn't it mean that he is innately full of soul power? Ferdinand turned his head and looked at the queen's face. With a flash of light in his eyes, the 5th elder looked at Bishop Ferdinand angrily. He tried his best to hide the news that Dai Yao was born with full soul power, and did not let the queen know. But he didn't expect to be exposed by Ferdinand. He hesitated a little, then swept over with the queen coldly, gritted his teeth and said, yes, he is born with full soul power. Humph. The queen snorted, very dissatisfied with the 5th elder's attitude. What was even more hateful was that Dai Mubai was also present when the martial spirit awakened, but he did not report the news to her. Mubai, you know you care more about Weiss, and it's normal to have some misunderstandings about me. But you didn't tell me such important news. If you win this duel, that's fine. If you lose, The martial arts performance stage was crowded with people, but there was no one on the other side of the martial arts performance stage. The crowd gradually became anxious. Where is the 4th prince? He shouldn't be afraid anymore, right? The 4th prince has just obtained the soul ring. He will definitely not be able to defeat the 3rd prince. If he knew himself, he would definitely surrender. Dai Mubai, who was on the martial arts field, showed contempt. It's really boring. He knows that I want to teach him a lesson and he doesn't even dare to come. Then he shouted to the fifth elder in the stands, "Elder, it seems that he won't come, so I announced let's decide the outcome of the duel." At this moment, the crowd of onlookers suddenly started to make a noise, and everyone looked towards the noise. "The fourth prince is here." After hearing these words, the crowd who were still discussing separated and formed a passage. In the eyes of everyone, a figure slowly walked towards them. This figure was a little thin, and compared to Dai Mubai, he was not that dazzling. His hair had no luster, like dead grass. In everyone's eyes, there were doubts, surprises, and disdain. But these glances didn't seem to have any impact on this thin figure. He stood up straight, with a thin face and a confident smile. Facing Dai Mubai's contemptuous gaze, he exhaled, jumped lightly, and landed on the martial arts stage. "This guy has a good character." The fifth elder commented in his heart. After Dai Yao awakened his martial soul, he specially learned about Dai Yao's life experience. Having a firm belief and not being affected by other people's opinions is an essential quality for every strong person. He was already prepared for Dai Yao's failure. Even if Dai Yao was made useless by several princes, he would still let Dai Yao marry some women from the Zhu family, have more children, and pass on his martial spirit. Dai Yao stood on the martial arts stage. No one thought highly of him, and his back looked a little lonely and desolate. A disdainful gaze glanced over, and Dai Mubai teased, "I thought you were too timid to come." If it were the eldest prince or the second prince, I would naturally not dare to come, but since it is you Dai Mubai, why wouldn't I dare? Dai Yao retorted. "You're not soft-spoken. I want to see if your strength is as tough as your mouth." After hearing Dai Yao's words, Dai Mubai's lips curled up into a sneer. Now, even without his mother's instructions, he would still be cruel. Dai Yao was given a lesson. Seeing both of them on stage, a person who looked like a host immediately announced, "Audiences in the stands, please remain silent, so as not to affect the duel. You are not allowed to use any knives or concealed weapons. Anyone who falls on the martial arts platform will be the loser. Anyone who voluntarily admits defeat will be the loser. Do you two have any objections?" "No." The two people's eyes met and they said in unison. "The duel begins." That the originally noisy stand suddenly became quiet, and everyone's eyes were focused on the martial arts stage. As soon as he finished speaking, Dai Mubai bowed and bent his legs. The muscles in his arms bulged slightly, making his shirt bulge. Hearing a thud, the masonry beneath his feet shattered. His whole body was like a sharp sword, rushing towards Dai Yao with an unstoppable momentum. The distance of several hundred meters was rapidly reduced. "You don't even have a martial spirit. Do you look down on me so much?" Dai Yao thought in his heart. Looking at the tall figure coming towards him, he could already feel the power contained in Dai Mubai's fist, even though he was still far away. "Since you don't activate the martial spirit, I won't activate it either. I just want to test my physical strength." His body has a soul ring increase beyond the limit, and with Qinglian's transformation, he is confident that he will not compete with Dai Mubai. How much difference? Chapter 15 Gap. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dai Mubai was a little surprised when he saw Dai Yao retracting his fist to gather strength. Although he looked down on Dai Yao, he was never careless about fighting. In his assessment, he could defeat Dai Yao without opening his martial soul. After all, the first soul skill of the White Tiger martial spirit is the White Tiger body barrier, which is just a defensive soul skill. Dai Yao kicked the ground with one foot and strode towards Dai Mubai. In the eyes of everyone, this was like an ant shaking an elephant. "It's good to come." In this situation, Dai Yao was not only not afraid, but also had the courage to face the attack. This made Dai Mubai feel a sense of appreciation for Dai Yao. He loves fighting, and what he hates most is cowards who dare not fight. The two sides got closer and closer, and fists of one large and one small collided brazenly. There was a burst of exclamation from the audience in the stands. Boom! Both of them felt like they were struck by lightning, and flew away with pain on their faces. Dai Mubai took a step back, and Dai Yao took 4 steps back before he stopped his retreat. Dai Mubai looked at Dai Yao in disbelief. During the collision of his fists, He felt the power contained in the opponent's fist, which was almost the same as his own. He is only 6 years old, and he can already compete with me in terms of strength. How terrifying his strength must be when he reaches my age. Dai Mubai thought in shock. The other party was considered his opponent, so Dai Mubai put away all his contempt at this moment. He originally thought that this duel was just a formality and that he could easily defeat Dai Yao and then marry Zhu Zhuqing, but he didn't expect Dai Yao to give him a surprise from the beginning. TSK, the fourth prince is pretty good. His physical strength is already on par with the third prince's. Bishop Ferdinand looked at the two people in the field and said with a smile. After hearing the bishop's words, the queen no longer felt relaxed at the beginning, her face became stern, she looked at the two people in the field, and remained silent. Dai Mubai put away his attacking stance and returned to the side of the martial arts stage amidst everyone's discussion. He shook his sore right arm and rolled his neck, making a crackling sound in the bones. With a solemn look on his strong and resolute face, he bowed to Dai Yao and said, Dai Mubai, a 17-year-old attack-type battle soul master, please give me your advice. He may be unruly in other matters, but he is always meticulous in fighting. To respect your opponent is to respect yourself. Dai Yao's arm was also in severe pain, but his right hand had gained some resistance due to the experience of being injured after using bajabang many times. After a simple rest, it was almost healed. He clasped his hands together, and a fierce fighting spirit surged from his eyes. Dai Yao, an 11th level battle soul master, please give me your advice. 2 rays of white light spurted out from their bodies, and in the white light, 2 fierce and domineering auras bloomed at the same time. Martial soul possession, that the audience in the stands exclaimed. Especially the children of the Dai family, they feel the white tiger spirit more deeply, and the fear coming from the depths of their souls is like a heavy hammer hitting their hearts. However, what surprised them most was the pair of white wings on Dai Yao's back. Everyone was talking a lot, and there was endless enthusiasm for Dai Yao's martial spirit. At the beginning of the game, Dai Yao activated the second form of Wuhuan, which shows how much he values this game. There is no room for failure in this game, and he will do whatever it takes to win. What martial spirit is that? Bishop Ferdinand no longer looked lazy, his little eyes opened as wide as possible, and he asked in surprise. The holy white tiger martial spirit was named by Dai Yao himself. The fifth elder replied coldly. Bishop Ferdinand suppressed the surprise in his heart. He had never heard of this kind of martial spirit, and the strength of the martial spirit was even more astonishing. Perhaps only the angel martial spirits inherited in the enshrinement hall could compare with it. This child must not be kept. The bishop suddenly had this thought in his mind. If Dai Yao grows up, he will pose too many threats to Wuhuan Palace. But when he thought of the tradition of the Xingluo royal family, he felt relieved again. No matter how powerful his martial soul is, it is just potential. Can it be compared to the eldest prince who is already a soul master? The loser in the competition for the throne has no chance of survival. It's just a pity, such a powerful martial spirit. 2 figures appeared, equally powerful and domineering, with 2 fierce eyes staring at each other. I have to admit that you are a genius. At the same age, I am definitely not your opponent, but today, I have a reason to defeat you. Dai Mubai said with emotion. That's a coincidence, I also have to defeat you. Dai Yao smiled. Both sides have a yellow soul ring. When Dai Mubai's martial soul possessed him, Dai Yao clearly felt a pressure coming on his face, and the operation of his soul power was somewhat stagnant. Then let me show you that the difference between us is not just the difference in soul power. That after saying that, Dai Mubai moved, and a pair of palms were like tiger claws, striking towards Dai Yao with great force. So fast. The strong wind hit, and Dai Yao's first feeling was that of speed. He didn't expect that an attack-type soul master could be so fast. He could only reluctantly cross his hands in a gesture of resistance. However, what he didn't expect was that this seemingly powerful palm felt soft on his hand. You've been fooled. This palm was just Dai Mubai's feint attack. The real attack came from his other hand. Under Dai Yao's armpit, an iron fist hit his ribs. If this punch hit Dai Yao firmly, he would immediately lose the ability to fight. Not good. Dai Yao shouted in his heart, the first soul ring lights up. White tiger body barrier. A white cover covered Dai Yao, and Dai Mubai's fist struck the cover, making a muffled sound like a morning bell. The protective barrier was not broken, but the consumption of soul power was huge. Taking this opportunity, Dai Yao quickly retreated. With just a slight contact, he could already feel the gap in actual combat experience between the two. However, Dai Mubai was even more surprised. Dai Yao had already brought him too many surprises. He originally planned to defeat Dai Yao cleanly, and he was about to succeed, but he didn't expect Dai Yao to release his soul skills so quickly. The lightning and flint completely blocked his attack. How come a person who has just obtained a soul ring can release soul skills so skillfully? Is he really a genius? These thoughts flashed through Dai Mubai's mind. He observed Dai Yao's posture and planned the next step. 2 or more attacks. The white tiger protective barrier will definitely consume a lot of your soul power. I want to see how many times you can use your 11th level soul power to perform soul skills. Dai Yao's footing was not stable, and Dai Mubai came forward to attack again. Is this attack still a feint attack? This thought appeared in Dai Yao's mind, but just by this hesitation, Dai Mubai attacked right in front of him. He hurriedly defended, powerful force came from his arms, and he successfully blocked Dai Mubai's attack. However, in his ribs, Dai Mubai attacked again with the same move. What he didn't expect was that this time it was a feint. There was a mistake in judgment, and Dai Yao showed a flaw. Chapter 16 Self-Created Soul Skills. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'll see how you defend this time. If you use the white tiger barrier again, you only need to attack a few times before you lose your soul power. Dai Mubai sneered. Dai Yao had no choice but to use the white tiger barrier again to resist Dai Mubai's attack. The situation on the field was almost one-sided, with Dai Mubai completely overwhelming Dai Yao. Although Dai Yao was not inferior to Dai Mubai in terms of strength and speed, his actual combat experience was too different, and the rhythm on the field was completely dominated by Dai Mubai. Under Bai's control, Dai Yao was completely unable to organize an effective attack. The current Dai Yaokong has brute strength, but he doesn't have the corresponding skills, so he can't fully display his own strength. The fourth prince is completely unable to block the third prince's attack. He can only rely on his first soul skill to survive. When the fourth prince's soul power is exhausted, he will inevitably fail. Someone calmly analyzed the situation on the field and made a judgment. Let me just say, the age difference is 3 years. How can it be so easy to complete the next game? I have to say that the fourth prince is really powerful. He can fight back and forth with the third prince just after he got the soul ring. Someone praised Dai Yao. The audience in the stands talked a lot, and they all thought that the winner had already been decided. As long as time goes by, Dai Yao is bound to fail. The queen's indifferent expression showed no trace of her thoughts. She came today to watch a clean and tidy victory. Dai Mubai easily dealt with Dai Yao, stepping on his dignity. She wanted to repay the humiliation given to her by that woman 100-fold to her son. But Dai Mubai was not only unable to make a quick victory, he was also dragged into a bitter fight. Even if she wins, winning is so ugly. The queen's mood immediately becomes bad. However, Dai Mubai on the court did not feel relaxed at all. Although the situation looked like Dai Yao was being beaten by him, except for the first 2 effective attacks, there was no real threat to Dai Yao after that. Dai Yao only used the white tiger protective barrier twice. The fifth elder on the high platform looked at the situation on the field and his eyes were focused. Although Dai Yao has no strength to fight back, his steps are no longer messy and have gradually become orderly. Which shows that he has begun to adapt to Dai Mubai's attack. He was once again shocked by Dai Yao's talent, and then thought regretfully, it's just that it's too late. After using the first soul skill twice, how much soul power do you have left? At present, the third prince has only 1 soul skill. None of them have been used, not to mention that he himself has 17th level soul power, which is much higher than you. When your soul power is exhausted and the state of possession by the martial spirit is released, the third prince will easily defeat you. The fifth elder's hand holding the flaming beard trembled slightly, and his complicated mood finally turned into a sigh. Bishop Ferdinand, who was leaning on his seat, had a calm face, but he was happy in his heart. What a stupid white tiger family. Such a genius has already established the qualifications of the Holy Sun in our Wuhuan palace, but he was rejected by a group of you. The guy who didn't know how to adapt was ruined. I feel so sorry for Dai Yao. Is this a true genius? Dai Mubai couldn't help but think, it is incredible to have such rapid growth in such a short period of time. Dai Mubai's attack did not stop, and a continuous attack surged toward Dai Yao like an overwhelming mountain. Dai Yao had no time to think and relied entirely on instinct to defend. The wings behind him were constantly flapping, which not only increased his speed, but also allowed him to adjust his posture from time to time to avoid Dai Mubai's fatal offensive. As for the two skills of Baji Bang and Explosive Step, they had no chance to be used under Dai Mubai's airtight attack. The two were still at each other's throat. Dai Mubai became more and more anxious, his breathing gradually became faster, and even his attacks became increasingly chaotic. He knew that his mother wanted him to severely humiliate Dai Yao, but in the current situation, not only could he not teach Dai Yao a lesson, but Dai Yao felt more comfortable as he grew older. No, we can't do this anymore. Thinking of what his mother had told him, Dai Mubai took the lead in changing the formation. After knocking Dai Yao away with one blow, his expression became ferocious and his eyes flickered. Then he stamped his feet on the ground and punched Dai Yao with both fists. He had completely given up on defense, using the attitude of exchanging injuries for injuries, hoping to give Dai Yao a fatal blow. At the moment when Dai Yao changed his formation, Dai Yao also realized the opportunity. His eyes flashed, and now it was time to decide the outcome. Dai Mubai traded injuries for injuries, so how could he be afraid? As the saying goes, when we meet on a narrow road, the brave wins. If he didn't have the courage to confront Dai Mubai, how could he have a chance to win? At this time, he finally had the opportunity to use Baji Collapse. He originally thought that he could use Bajibang and Explosive Steps to deal with Dai Mubai, but under Dai Mubai's continuous attack with palm after palm, he had no chance to use it at all. When Dai Yao poured his soul power into his hands, air suddenly blew on the stage, blowing the clothes of the audience in the stands. Dai Yao's right hand swelled. With the martial spirit possessed, the entire right hand looked like a piece of granite, hard and powerful. The airflow between heaven and earth is like a huge spiral, converging on Dai Yao's right hand. What exactly did His Highness the Fourth Prince do? What kind of soul skill is this? That the audience in the stands became excited and were shocked by the scene in front of them. The fourth prince was performing a powerful soul skill. The fifth elder and Bishop Ferdinand both stood up and quickly lay down on the railing, as if they could see more clearly. Then the two looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Self-created soul skills. The tone of both of them was trembling. Soul skills are divided into two types in Douluo Continent. One is skills given by soul rings or soul bones by hunting soul beasts, and the other is skills given by one's own creation. For most soul masters, the soul skills they possess are obtained by hunting soul beasts. Even for many powerful people who have reached the level of title Douluo, their soul skills belong to the first type, and self-created soul skills are extremely rare in the entire world. The Haotian sect, which is number one in the world, only has one Pafong hammer technique, and the White Tiger clan has none. Those Douluo experts can be considered geniuses, but they don't even have their own soul skills. One can imagine how difficult it is to acquire self-created soul skills, and now, they saw something. A 6-year-old child is performing a self-created soul skill. This has subverted their understanding. There are many talents in our Wuhuan palace, but there is no talent comparable to yours. It would be great if you were from my Wuhuan palace. Bishop Ferdinand looked at Dai Yao eagerly, really wishing that he was not from the Star Luo royal family. This way, he can join the Wuhuan palace. He secretly thought it was a pity. This child's potential is too great. Once he grows up, he will be a great threat to our Wuhuan palace. We must nip him in the cradle. He sentenced Dai Yao to death in his heart. Chapter 17 The End. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Creak, creak, that the queen was so angry that she gritted her teeth and stared at Dai Yao with a pair of hateful eyes, and her beautiful face became ferocious and terrifying. Originally, the fifth elder was still delighted with Dai Yao's performance. Once this self-created soul skill was used, Dai Yao would have a chance of victory. If you give him some more time, wouldn't he have a chance to win the competition for the throne? When this kind of genius becomes the emperor of Xingluo, he will definitely be able to take the empire to a new level. However, when he noticed the queen's expression, his mood became clouded. Humph. This woman must not be holding back anything good. If she wants to harm Dai Yao, she has to see if my bloodthirsty demon tiger agrees or not. The fifth elder traveled to the mainland when he was young. He was very powerful and had a hot temper, so he was teased by the bad guys. The nickname of the bloodthirsty tiger, the situation in the field suddenly changed. The vision of Dai Yao's soul skill naturally caught Dai Mubai's eye. Dai Yao had surprised him too much, and this self-created soul skill could no longer surprise him. It turns out that my previous offensive meant that he had no chance to use this soul skill. Now, with the change of formation, he has a chance to use his soul skill. Thinking of this, Dai Mubai was extremely annoyed. Is this your self-created soul skill? Yes. Dai Yao, who was still gathering strength, replied, without Qinglian, there would be no Bajabang. But without Dai Yao's accidental discovery, there would have been no Baji collapse. It is not an exaggeration to say that Dai Yao created it himself. Then let me see how powerful your soul skill is. Dai Mubai was not afraid and was about to confront Dai Yao head-on. Okay. Dai Yao replied. Dai Mubai tensed his whole body, like a bow stretched to its limit, and then released it, blasting towards Dai Yao with the greatest strength. At the same time, Baji Beng's energy storage was completed, the two collided like sparks hitting the earth, a white shield covered Dai Mubai's body, and Dai Mubai showed a successful expression. The same soul skills are used, Dai Yao's is offensive, and his is defensive. As long as the white tiger protective barrier blocks Dai Yao's attack, his charged punch can directly hit Dai Yao. Dai Yao has no chance to use the white tiger protective barrier this time. Dai Yao cannot use the first soul skill while performing Baji Bang. The two soul skills are used at the same time. A first-level soul master has no such ability at all. Baji Bang punched the shield, and the shield looked broken like a spider web, but it was not broken in the end. With the power of Baji Bang, even the water shield cast by the 700-year-old Xian Shui turtle can be broken, but now Dai Mubai's white tiger protective barrier cannot be broken. It is conceivable that Dai Mubai's first soul skill would a lot of effort. The moment the protective barrier was not broken, Dai Yao realized the critical situation. Dai Mubai showed an expected smile, waved his huge tiger palm, and with an unstoppable attitude, struck Dai Yao with the final slap to declare defeat. Danger! Dai Yao's heart beat faster and the scene in front of him was a little blurry. Explosive step. He poured soul power into his legs and used his second self-created soul skill. Blood spilled from the corner of his mouth, and his body was under great burden, but he still persisted with a ferocious expression. Dai Mubai's eyes suddenly blurred, Dai Yao's figure disappeared, and the punch he was determined to win also landed in the empty space. His shocked expression froze on his face, and he had no idea what happened just now. Dai Yao, who used the explosive step, was extremely fast, and Dai Mubai's blow missed the ground before he landed. He bullied him. Bajabang! Dai Yao hit Dai Mubai's abdomen with a palm. This Baji collapse didn't use much soul power, so there wasn't much energy accumulation process. Dai Mubai's astonished expression instantly turned into pain, a mouthful of blood spurted out, his body flew backwards like a cannonball. Hearing a thud, Dai Mubai's body was embedded in a fence under the stands, and then fell softly to the ground, unable to get up again. All of this happened in a flash. Before most of the audience could see what happened, the third prince was blown away and fell to the ground. All the audience fell silent, as if silenced, and after a few seconds, fierce cheers erupted. Of course, some cheered and some were disappointed. They left the venue sighing. Someone jumped down from the stands, came to the martial arts platform, and happily threw Dai Yao into the air. At this time, they have no prejudice, only the same blood. Dai Mubai, who fell on the ground, tilted his head slightly, looking at Dai Yao with eyes full of envy. Originally, he had a certain chance of winning, as long as he kept consuming Dai Yao's soul power, until Dai Yao's soul power was exhausted, he would naturally win. However, because of his mother's instructions, he wanted to deal with Dai Yao cleanly, but in the end he gave Dai Yao a gap to use his self-created soul skills, and he was defeated. Thinking of this, I felt very unwilling. On the high platform, Bishop Ferdinand and the 5 elders looked at each other, and even they had never seen the scene before them. A kid who just got a soul ring actually defeated a 17th level soul master. This kid actually accomplished the following defeat. The 5th elder looked pleased. Bishop Ferdinand smiled at the queen, but the smile was obviously malicious. Queen, these 4 princes are really talented. If he waits for a few years, even the eldest prince will not be his opponent, right? The bishop was obviously trying to provoke the queen and persuade her to attack Dai Yao. The queen's fullness and roundness kept rising and falling, and she was obviously very angry. She was extremely disappointed with Dai Mubai. She was watching the game this time to see a hearty victory, not a humiliating defeat. Not only did she fail to resolve her hatred, she also put her own face into it. She lifted her dress and took one last look at Dai Mubai, who was lying on the ground. Her eyes were emotionless, as if she were looking at a stranger. Then he strode away from the martial arts arena, as if running away. The group of palace maids behind him also left. The 5th elder stopped Bishop Ferdinand. What do you want to do? The 5th elder's tone was cold. The golden hair on his head burned like a flame, and a powerful aura spurted out, as if the bishop was about to take action if he said anything wrong. He understood the bishop's sinister intention, which was that he didn't want Dai Yao to live. No. Nothing, just joking. A trace of cold sweat ran down Bishop Ferdinand's plump face. He had heard of the name of the bloodthirsty devil tiger. This is a lunatic. He has no scruples. Don't provoke him unless absolutely necessary. Although he is the bishop of Wuhuan Palace, after all, he was wronged first, and it is understandable for the other party to retaliate. It's best to be as you say. The 5th elder said with a cold snort. Dai Yao wins this duel. The referee announced the result of the match. From then on, everyone knew that the 3rd prince had lost the right to compete for the throne. From then on, Dai Mubai's fate could only continue to wait for the next emperor to ascend the throne to be judged. Contrary to Dai Mubai, the 4th prince Dai Yao has become a dazzling new star, although he cannot compare with the eldest prince and 2nd prince. After being put down by the crowd, Dai Yao came to Dai Mubai and pulled him up. In fact, he admired Dai Mubai very much for being upright in battle, but the two of them were destined not to become friends because of their positions. Dai Mubai glanced at Dai Yao complicatedly, turned around and left with the queen. Chapter 18 Dai Mubai. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Royal Palace, Civic Palace. The Civic Palace is the palace where the queens live. Because the queens in the past dynasties were all members of the Zhu family and possessed the netherworld civic spirit, this palace was named the Civic Palace. After returning from the royal martial arts arena, the queen was always angry and smashed many items in the Civic Palace. What's going on, Queen Mother? The eldest prince asked. After the 3rd prince lost to the 4th prince, the queen has been angry. The 3rd prince has been kneeling inside for several hours. Your Highness, the eldest prince, please go in and persuade the queen. The queen will only listen to your Highness's advice. The palace maid next to her said anxiously, when you open the palace door and step in, the first thing you see is Dai Mubai kneeling on the ground. Dai Mubai never raised his head, and his long golden hair covered his face, making it difficult to see his expression clearly. There was blood on his forehead, which was hit by the queen with a cup. Useless trash. Davis said coldly, his eyes full of contempt. At level 17, I defeated someone who had just obtained a soul ring. It's really useless. Dai Mubai, who was kneeling on the ground, lowered his head and didn't reply a word. Queen Mother, what are you arguing with this loser? If he loses, he loses. Can't that scoundrel win the competition for the throne? As long as I am here, I will take that scoundrel's life. Davis turned to look at the queen, said with certainty. Am I angry that he lost? I'm angry with myself for believing in this trash. Hearing his mother commenting on him like this, Dai Mubai trembled slightly, choked with sobs. and tears fell to the ground. Even if he was defeated by Dai Yao, he was never so sad. He just felt that his skills were inferior to others. And when his mother called him useless, he couldn't bear it anymore. Perhaps both the Queen and Davis noticed Dai Mubai's strange behavior, but neither of them offered any words of comfort. But this is the Xingluo royal family, a place without emotion. Only the winner gets everything. Every Star Luo prince will enter the Star Luo Royal Academy to study. When he comes to the academy, I will give him a good lesson. Davis comforted him. The Queen sighed and expressed her worries. Although I hate this scoundrel, I have to admit that his talent is excellent, even better than yours. When he goes to the academy, with Dai Hengyu's care, I want to. It's not easy to do it. Dai Hengyu is the prince of the Star Luo Empire and the vice president of the Star Luo Royal Academy. He is one of the forces that the royal family controls the academy. Moreover, once he is given time to grow up, he will definitely become your strong rival. With the second child who is eyeing you covetously, it will not be easy for the two of them to join forces and successfully inherit the throne. Mother, please rest assured. I don't take the second child seriously, let alone that brat Dai Yao. Davis was full of confidence. In his heart, Dai Yao was not worthy of being his opponent. In fact, this is also true. The second prince at level 25 can still give Davis a little threat, but Dai Yao, a person who was not a soul master a few days ago, how can he take him seriously? Mother, you are not only the queen of the Star Luo Empire, but also one of the elders of the Zhu family. Since Zhu Zhuqing is a member of the Zhu family, wouldn't you be able to? Davis said sadly. Compared with Dai Mubai, who acted openly and aboveboard, Davis had no restrictions on his methods, as long as he could achieve his goal. If Dai Yao was facing off against Davis today, he would not give Dai Yao any chance. In his eyes, as long as he can win, it is a good means. It doesn't matter if he bullies the small, but what if he wins by being ugly? Upon hearing Davis's suggestion, the Queen's eyes lit up, and she immediately ordered the maid outside the door, "Go and bring me that girl Zhu Zhuqing." Then, she glanced at Dai Mubai with disgust. "You loser, why don't you get out of here? Do you still want to be an eyesore here?" Dai Mubai stood up and turned around. This man looked lifeless and decadent. He is no longer as energetic as he was during the duel. You know, he is only 9 years old this year. He looked at the bright moon in the sky, a sadness welling up in his heart, and hot tears streaked down his cheeks. Dai Yao is a prince and he cannot afford to lose, but he is also a prince and he cannot afford to lose. If Dai Yao loses, people will say that he is still young and his defeat is excusable, but if he is defeated, he will only become the object of ridicule. In the competition for the throne, there is no second place. Failure results in the same outcome, death. He has never received maternal love since he was born. The proud look on his mother's face every time she praised his brother made him envious. As a child, he also wanted to be the pride of his parents, but in Xingluo's royal family, it is destined to be just a luxury hope. He looked like an old man, not as high-spirited as he had during the duel, and left the civet palace in embarrassment. After Dai Mubai left, Zhu Zhuqing was taken to the civet palace. The queen pinched Zhu Zhuqing's chin with her thumb and index finger, and said in a cold tone, "What a good person. How cheap is that scoundrel?" Zhu Zhuqing felt a little uncomfortable being pinched, but he did not dare to resist at all. "I heard that you want freedom and get rid of the fate of the Zhu family?" The queen asked. These simple words seemed to have infinite charm, and Zhu Zhuqing's cold face showed a look of longing. "I can give you this opportunity. I have something I need you to complete. When it is completed, you can be free and no longer have to be manipulated. How about that?" After a few days, cold palace, Dai Yao took off his gorgeous robe and lay on the bed, not wanting to move at all. "It's so exhausting," he sighed. "I have been busy these past few days and never stopped for a moment. After the duel is won, there are many things that need to be dealt with." He first went to the ancestral hall of the Presbyterian Church in the White Tiger Mountains to meet with the elders, then he went to the knighthood. The complicated inheritance ceremony of the ancient family made his head grow bigger, which not only consumed his energy but also his physical strength. Someone once proposed to build a new palace specially as the residence of the fourth prince. But Dai Yao refused, and he was still used to living in the cold palace. Of course, the cold palace has also been renovated and now has a completely new look. In addition, he will go to Xingluo Royal Academy soon. By then, he will hardly come back, so there is no need to build a prince's mansion. Most importantly, how could he allow his extravagant life to corrupt his gold-like character? In fact, the main reason is that he has no money and cannot afford the expenses of the prince's mansion. Although the royal treasury will allocate a certain amount of money to each prince, compared with the cost of raising a prince, it is really a drop in the bucket. Now everything is over. His engagement will be fulfilled soon, because it is just a simple marriage contract. Only a few important relatives are required to bear witness. Zhu Zhuqing's family members are queens, and if Dai Yao's mother dies, Emperor Xingluo will not care about him, so the fifth elder serves as the representative of his family members. He couldn't help but laugh when he thought of the queen's face as dark as the bottom of a pot at the engagement banquet yesterday, and in just these 2 days, Zhu Zhuqing will come to Ling Palace. P.S. The first volume is finally over. After writing it chapter by chapter, I really found that I have many shortcomings. It was originally planned that the final duel with Dai Mubai would be a climax, but after all, due to lack of experience, the climax was not handled well. In addition, the character of the protagonist actually began to fall apart in the second chapter, but the collapse was not particularly severe, and it can still be saved now. I have finished writing the first volume, and now I have accumulated a lot of experience. I hope that the second volume can be written better. Thank you to all the readers and friends, especially the 2 friends who have been with me since the beginning of the book. Sincere thanks to you all. In addition, I am very happy to receive the website shortcut today. After review, I will officially become a contracted author. Don't worry about breaking updates or anything. This is the first book I have written, and the word count will be at least 500,000 words, because only by writing 500,000 words can I master the most basic ability to write novels, and I chose to publish the book directly from the starting point. This behavior is called rushing, and I will be alone for a long time. When Spring Breeze opens the book, you will be mentally prepared to endure loneliness for a long time, so you don't have to worry about cutting the book. Finally, I would like to ask for recommendation votes and follow-up reading. Thank you again. Chapter 19 Qinglian Strangeness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Will Zhu Zhuqing become my wife? Dai Yao felt a sense of unreality in his heart. Not long ago, he was still struggling for survival, but now he has not only become a prince, but will also marry a great beauty. Thinking of this, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but quiver. Wiping the saliva from the corner of his mouth, he still had business to do now. Thinking of the duel a few days ago, he still had lingering fears. If Dai Mubai hadn't been so eager to win, he might have lost this duel. I still lack practical experience. After I get to the academy, I need more practical experience. Dai Yao made his decision. The other is his second martial soul, Qinglian. When it comes to Qinglian, Dai Yao feels a little gloomy. When she obtained her first soul ring not long ago, Qinglian forcibly absorbed the 700-year-old soul ring and almost killed herself. Although it was successfully absorbed with Qinglian's help, the pain during absorption was too unforgettable. With a thought in his mind, his soul power gathered, and a green lotus appeared in his palm. Ha! Dai Yao looked at Qinglian and his eyes widened. This. He stuttered in shock. A yellow soul ring suddenly appeared on the green lotus. I'll go. Why is there a soul ring on Qinglian Wuhuan? I obviously didn't attach a soul ring to Qinglian. Dai Yao thought about it, but still couldn't think of the answer. At that time, there was only one soul ring of the Xian Shui turtle, and there were no other killed soul beasts. Dai Yao stroked his chin and thought, then he speculated in disbelief, could this soul ring be formed by Qinglian herself? Then what advantages does my twin martial soul have? As we all know, the biggest advantage of twin martial souls is that after using the first soul ring to cultivate title Douluo, each soul ring attached to the second martial soul can be at least 50,000 years old. Dai Yao was a little broken. The biggest advantage of these twin martial spirits was gone, and no one else could survive it. Immediately afterwards, he thought of a way. I will attach a soul ring to Qinglian in the future, and I will not practice the white tiger martial soul. I will use the White Tiger Martial Soul as my second martial soul. Since the White Tiger Martial Soul is no longer used, the identity of the fourth prince can no longer be used. Then hide your name from now on, and use another identity to disguise yourself. Dai Yao said fiercely. It's just a pity that a soul ring position of the White Tiger Martial Spirit has been wasted. Looking at the Qinglian Martial Spirit, I felt a complex emotion that was hard to explain. Then let me see what kind of skill your soul ring is. He stretched out his right hand and concentrated his soul power on it. Qinglian's first soul ring lit up, blooming with radiant light. The green lotus keeps getting bigger, the soft rhizome becomes straight and hard, the petals gather, the head is pointed and the belly is big, like the head of a spear, and the surrounding lotus leaves become the tassel of the spear. After using the first soul skill, Qinglian directly transformed into Qinglian's spear. I don't know how powerful it is. Dai Yao thought thoughtfully, then he came to the back of Ling Gong's house. The space was very large, and the ground was paved with stone slabs half a foot deep. These stone slabs are said to come from the far north. They are extremely hard and can block the full attack of Soul Lord. The foundation of the entire palace is paved with this kind of stone slab. In the corner behind the house, there are still some remaining stone slabs piled up. He once trained Baji Beng here, and even with the greatest power, he couldn't hurt him in the slightest. Dai Yao held the gun with both hands, squatted down slightly, arched his waist to gather strength, then passed his hands forward, and the Qinglian spear stabbed forward. When the green lotus spear touched the stone slab, it sank straight in like cutting tofu, as if there was no resistance at all. This is a stone slab that can withstand the bombardment of the Soul Lord, but it was penetrated so easily by the green lotus spear. No, this is not cutting tofu with a knife, but the green lotus gun has broken down the substance on the stone slab. This is the reason why there is no resistance. Dai Yao thought in shock. Decompose matter, what a terrifying ability. This is the power of rules. With one shot, matter is broken down into nothingness. In Douluo's worldview, perhaps only gods have such abilities. At this moment, Dai Yao did not feel joy, but instead felt boundless fear. Originally, he was worried that exposing his twin martial souls would lead to assassinations from various forces, but I didn't expect that the first soul skill of Qinglian Wuhuan involved the power of gods. Once people knew about it, it might not be humans who hunted him down, but gods. Although in the world of Douluo gods can't go off the stage directly, the spokesman of the gods can, such as Bo Saishi, the spokesperson of the sea god, Xian Dao Lu, the spokesperson of the angel god, and the successor of the Shura god, Peak Douluo Tangchen. Cold sweat kept sliding down Dai Yao's face. The consequences of exposing this power were terrifying to think about. At that time, it can really be said that there will be no life or death. In Hong Huang's novels, after Pan Gu opened the sky, the chaotic green forest was forbidden by the law of heaven, and it was divided into several treasures. Among them, the roots turned into god-killing guns. The power of this overbearing rule is indeed in line with the name of the god-killing spear. Could it be that this gun is the legendary god-killing spear, and Qinglian is really a chaos Qinglian? Dai Yao thought happily. Before, he named Qinglian the Chaos Qinglian, just to sound more domineering, but now all kinds of visions are on the surface, and his Qinglian martial soul is the real Chaos Qinglian. Dai Yao took a breath of cold air. Just as he was enjoying himself, a feeling of powerlessness suddenly spread throughout his body. Then, he fell softly to the ground and spurted out a mouthful of blood. He was panting heavily, as if he had been in a fierce battle and his energy was drained. The god-killing spear in his hand also turned into dots of starlight and disappeared. He didn't even have the strength to stand up, so he could only use his hands and feet to slowly crawl back into the house. When he came to the bed, he supported the bed with both hands, gritted his teeth, and with a sudden force, he moved his body to the bed. Is this the sequelae of using Chaos Qinglian's first soul skill? It's too terrifying. Thinking of what happened just now when he lost his strength and his mental energy was exhausted, Dai Yao was still frightened. The side effects are too great. You must be careful when using the god-killing spear. Otherwise, when you encounter an enemy, you will no longer be able to fight back after one blow. But he had to admit that this soul skill was extremely powerful. From the rules level, attacking the enemy can be his trump card. Now his body was unprecedentedly weak, and he kept closing his eyes due to sleep, but his heart was extremely uneasy. Now if someone wants to kill him, he will definitely die. He gritted his teeth, sat down cross-legged, and began to practice, as if in response to his diligence. The chaotic green lotus in the spiritual world also began to shed green light, nourishing his dry mental power, and somewhere he didn't notice, the chaos green lotus quietly opened a petal. Time passed quickly and Dai Yao spent a day practicing. Most of his body had recovered and his spirit was much better. At this time, dong dong dong, there was a knock on the door. Chapter 20 Zhu Zhuqing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who is it? Dai Yao thought, who is it so late? Since the duel, although some people have come to him and said they want to support him, according to the evaluation of his third uncle Dai Hingyu, these people are just people who follow the crowd. Once they accept their allegiance, they might use the name of the fourth prince to bully and dominate the market and ruin his reputation, so he refused without hesitation. When we came to the courtyard, the moon was bright, the stars were sparse, and the remaining snow had not disappeared. Opening the door, you will see a beautiful picture. The woman in front of her raised her head slightly, revealing her delicate and pretty face. She is shorter than Dai Yao, but her slim figure can already be seen. Her skin was white and rosy, her nose was straight and her lips were slightly raised, but her crystal-clear eyes were filled with a chilling coldness. The bright moonlight hit her waterfall-like long hair, hazy and extremely beautiful. Zhu Zhuqing. Dai Yao said in surprise. He had made an engagement with Zhu Zhuqing not long ago, and today was the day to fulfill the engagement. The maid next to her leaned over and said to Zhu Zhuqing, "Fourth imperial concubine, this is your highness the fourth highness." She looked at Dai Yao and slowly backed away. "If your highnesses have nothing else to do, I will leave first. Go and do your work." Looking at Zhu Zhuqing who had no intention of speaking, Dai Yao coughed slightly, feeling a little embarrassed, and then said to the palace maid. He walked in front, Zhu Zhuqing behind, and there was only the sound of footsteps on the broken snow in the cold palace. When Zhu Zhuqing was introduced into the house, he remained silent and there was an awkward atmosphere between the two of them. It's like two young people on a blind date who don't know what to talk about. Zhu Zhuqing has a cold temper and doesn't like to talk. Dai Yao didn't know what to say. In his previous life, he was just an ordinary person and had never held hands with a girl. Now he was sitting with a beautiful and fragrant woman. His hands were not trembling, so he was pretty good. He prepared tea, but still didn't know what to say. Zhu Zhuqing didn't say anything, and the awkward atmosphere became more and more intense. Dai Yao was extremely nervous. He felt more nervous talking to a girl than fighting Dai Mubai. Gritting his teeth, Dai Yao stumbled and said, "Your name is Zhu Zhuqing. Can I call you Zhuqing from now on?" Zhu Zhuqing nodded, staring at him with a pair of big bright eyes. Dai Yao simply risked his life and spoke more and more smoothly. "My name is Dai Yao, I am 6 years old this year. My mother unfortunately passed away on the day I was born. I don't have a strong maternal clan like Dai Mubai, so I cannot give you a very generous life." The fifth elder said that it is the fate of every prince to be engaged to a girl from the Zhu family. "It's just that I don't know whether you are willing or not." Zhu Zhuqing said nothing and looked complicated. Looking at her expression, Dai Yao understood in his heart that just like two men and women on blind dates, it is very difficult for them to see each other in the eyes from the beginning. He sighed secretly in his heart, turned around and said, "I'm going to order you to prepare a room for you to rest at night." And the moment he turned around, a Ling Ran murderous intention went straight to his neck. Alarm bells blared in his mind, and without any time to think, Dai Yao quickly performed his explosive step, lowered his body, and rolled forward. Ding! The sure blow fell into the air. Dai Yao looked back and saw that Zhu Zhuqing was already possessed by martial spirit. His body was like a civet cat. He lowered his body and held the blade in one hand, making an attack gesture. He said in disbelief, "You want to kill me?" That if he hadn't reacted quickly to the blow just now, he would have been dismembered. Immediately afterwards, raging anger arose in Dai Yao's heart. His blood surged up, the bloodshot eyes were clearly visible, his expression became extremely ferocious, and his tone was like the cold air from Jiuyou. "You, actually want to kill me?" From childhood to adulthood, he grew up in the shadow of the queen and was always afraid. Now he has awakened his twin martial souls, became the fourth prince, won the duel, and entered into a marriage contract with Zhu Zhuqing. A bright future seemed to be beckoning to him, but it was still shrouded in the shadow of the queen. In his imagination, he and Zhu Zhuqing will support each other and rely on each other to go through the difficult years in the future. After meeting Zhu Zhuqing, he was preparing to have a frank talk with her to eliminate the barriers in the future, but unexpectedly, Zhu Zhuqing's first reaction was to kill him. My heart is towards the bright moon, but the bright moon shines on the ditch. Sincerity fed the dog, so he gave up his anger. In an instant, Wu Huan possessed him, and with explosive steps, he captured Zhu Zhuqing with one hand. Zhu Zhuqing has not yet obtained the soul ring, so he is no match for Dai Yao. In front of Dai Yao, his soul power cannot function normally, let alone in a narrow room. With just a few tricks, Dai Yao smashed all of Zhu Zhuqing's attacks. One hand grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's swan-like neck. Say, why did you kill me? Dai Yao's tone was extremely cold. Zhu Zhuqing was held up in the air by Dai Yao with one hand, his neck hurt so badly that he couldn't speak. Don't tell me, do you? Zhu Zhuqing held both of Dai Yao's pinching palms, without saying a word, just quietly looked into Dai Yao's eyes. Crystal clear teardrops slid down her face. Dai Yao sighed, put down Zhu Zhuqing, and said, You go, I will explain the marriage contract to the elders. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Dai Yao in disbelief, never expecting that Dai Yao would let her go. She walked to the door step by step, and when she came to the door, she hesitated. Her expression was extremely complicated, and then she turned and went back into the house. At this time, Dai Yao was still upset. After all, it was Zhu Zhuqing. As long as he was more cruel, he could keep her by his side. But thinking of Zhu Zhuqing's inexplicable murderous intention, he still chose to give up. Hearing the footsteps outside the door and looking at Zhu Zhuqing who was leaving and returning, Dai Yao asked in surprise, Why are you back again? Zhu Zhuqing's eyes were a little dodgy and he explained. I'm sorry, Dai Yao. The queen came to me yesterday and said that as long as I kill you, I will be free. Freedom, what freedom? The queen has promised me the right to break away from the engagement. If I don't marry any prince, I won't have to participate in the cruel competition for the throne. Dai Yao snorted coldly. She was so naive, she actually thought she could get rid of her fate by killing him. The consequences of killing the prince must be that he will be buried with him, but then something clicked in his mind and he realized this was an opportunity. He calmly pulled back the clothes on his chest slightly, exposed his chest, pointed to his heart on the left side and said, Just stab here, stick your knife an inch in here, and you'll be free. Will you stab or not? Dai Yao's tone was calm and indifferent, as if he was talking about an insignificant thing. Although he looked calm, he was actually very nervous inside. After all, you are gambling with your life. This action startled Zhu Zhuqing, and he took a few steps back with a look of horror. I give you two choices. You can either kill me now and pursue your own freedom, or you can fulfill your engagement. From now on, we will support each other and face the future together. Dai Yao said.